Good morning and welcome to the David and David on Real Estate podcast. Today we are on episode number 136. Welcome back, David Corman.
It's always great to do these and to see you, in the middle of summer, but we're working, we're trying to find ways to keep things going. And we're going to discuss some of that today, but always great to be with you, David. And it always gives us a chance to talk at first before we get on these things about how we're enjoying summers and things like that. But there is a market going on. There is business to be done as well. So we'll focus on that a little bit today.
Yeah, we absolutely will. David, I remember when I used to be in the trenches, used to be a practicing realtor. I made a career really working hard during the summertime and doing quite a bit of transactions and really contributing greatly to my GCI in the year because, I find that so many realtors take the summer off, and that creates a gap and it creates opportunities for the realtors that are willing to work. And look, I always say this to everybody. If you get a call in the summertime, if you meet a buyer in the summertime, if you do an open house and anybody walks through the door, those are your A-level clients that are super interested in making a purchasing decision. Otherwise, why would anybody, with the beautiful weather that we have and the short summers that we have in Canada, why would anybody take time out of their schedule and actually go to an open house? Why would anybody go make an appointment to see a property? Those are your super motivated, extremely serious buyers. And if you're a realtor and you take the summer off and you're at the cottage or you're really enjoying the beach, you're missing out on those opportunities.
I agree 100%. And I've had this conversation with realtors over the years too, because, part of it, residential real estate has always been so seasonal. But I think sometimes part of it it's seasonal because we in the industry make it seasonal, and you in particular more at your end than my end. Like you hear so much from agents, and you talk to them December, January. Oh, the market's generally slow. We're gonna take time off. We're gonna go on holidays. We're not gonna do much in December and January, and then it's July and August. Oh, the market will be slower. We're gonna take some time off and travel and do this and that. Okay, well that's 4 months of the year already that you're planning to not be that active and busy. So that's putting a lot of pressure on you for the other 8 months to try and make a living. But some of it is, you're helping foster that seasonal type of market. There's people out there, like I'm all in favor to take your holidays for sure. Our summers are so short, you gotta take some time and enjoy the great weather and stuff. And yet our winters can be harsh. And yeah, go away for a week or 10 days, whatever. But don't plan like I'm going to do nothing for all of December and January and all of July and August. It's too much.
It is too much. And I'm glad you brought up the seasonality of real estate because we had a really hard and defined cycle before COVID. And then COVID changed everything because everything came to a standstill. And of course, real estate was deemed an essential service. So when they opened up those floodgates, we got really busy and our cycle got affected. I remember I think the first lockdown happened just before the summertime, and then they opened everything up. So we got really busy through the summer, and that kind of changed the real estate cycle a little bit. But now I find that we're going back to those old historical trends in real estate where, we have a spring market, we have a summer market, and we're going to have a fall market. And there's significant differences between the levels of activity in those three markets. And realtors just have to understand that has historically been the cycle of the Canadian real estate market.
Yeah, and I think you're right. There really was that adjustment back in COVID because we things weren't going like normal in May and June, and all of a sudden the summer was busy. Everybody said, okay, now things are open. Now I can do stuff. And they did. And they found that buyers were very receptive and sellers were very receptive. People want to make decisions with their lives. And right now, in our current market situation, we know that there's a whole bunch of people out there that want to make a change. of where they're living. And a lot of a lot of them are on hold mainly because of the interest rates. And the rates were going up, and people are waiting, how high are they going to go? And they're waiting for them to come down. And they're just sitting waiting for it to be a little more affordable. Well, now we've already had a couple adjustments, and those that are waiting for the rates to come back to 2%, it's never going to happen. So we have to be out there telling people, any more decreases are going to be minor. You've got to do your calculations and decide what's affordable to you now, and then get out there. Like, there's great opportunities, but it's time to press the go button and do it now, because any more, changes in are going to be minor and very gradual. And if you're ready to sit around for a couple of years to see, you're going to find out it's not going back down to 2%. So you've just wasted years of opportunity. So why not get out there now, figure out what you can afford? There's great opportunities. Now's the time to go. Why not be out there now instead of waiting for Labor Day, when there'll be a bunch of other buyers on the market?
Yeah, and David, I think you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned the key phrase, housing affordability, right? So we know affordability is going to improve with the lowering of interest rates. And we've already seen two adjustments. In fact, the job report for the United States just came in. It was a bit, the unemployment numbers were higher than anticipated. And I look at all this news coming in, and I think to myself, this is good news, because this shows us that we are actually making huge inroads in our fight with inflation. We're winning the battle. The fact that jobs are not growing at the same pace is a good thing overall for our economy, because that's the first step, or one of the major steps that we have to take in order to really win our battle with inflation. And we're winning. We're already seeing a big turn. We're seeing so many people talk about a recession. That's a good thing for our real estate market, because it means that we're winning that fight, and the worst is behind us. And if we take that to heart, and the worst is really behind us, then there's brighter days ahead. And with interest rates moving down, and with massive immigration still on the horizon, remember, we have over 1.1 million new immigrants in Canada. And we keep talking about this, David, but we have our point system for our immigration policy, meaning that we let in people based on a certain score, things based on a certain predefined characteristics, like if you're self-employed, if you're a landowner, if you have money, if you're educated. These are the people we're letting into our borders. And immigrants from day one want to build a new business and want to establish roots by buying housing in Canada. So all this is contributing to our economy and to the opportunity that lies ahead. Knowing that brighter days are in front of us, every realtor should be giving their clients the advice that now is an opportune time to buy. Because if you wait with the mentality that interest rates are going to go down even further, and it's going to impact affordability even more than the current market environment, prices are going to go out of control, and you're going to price yourself out of the market. And I don't want to see anybody really miss this opportunity, especially our first-time home buyers. Our immigrants are new to the country. Timing is everything, and take advantage of the time that we're in right now.
Yeah, and those of us living in the GTA also have to deal with the reality that a large percentage of that immigration is going to stay in the GTA, which keeps the prices higher here because there's such a demand all the time, and no matter which government's in power, they always struggle in immigration policy to have enough incentive to get the new immigrants to live somewhere else. And even if they go somewhere else, they might be for a short period of time in Canada, and then they end up somewhere in the GTA. It's just, this is where they hear about, they know about. There's different communities already established here, and this is where they want to be. So that's not gonna go away, I don't think, in the foreseeable future. So we have to recognize that and know that there's always going to be this artificial market that exists in the GTA that sometimes doesn't exist elsewhere in Canada, because there's just such a demand to live here. People come here and they don't want to leave. it spreads, it grows a little bit, but they're still in the general neighborhood. So there's always going to be that pressure on pricing because the demand's always going to be there. So if you want to stay, you want to be here, you got to look for your opportunities. Sometimes your opportunities are in the middle of or in early August as opposed to September. So David, let me throw it to you. Like, what are you telling your agents? What's the message your brokerage is telling everybody? Like, what should they be doing right now in early August, as opposed to waiting till September?
Yeah, David, I think you have to be present. You host your open houses during the summer, and you might not get the same foot traffic that you get in the fall or the spring market. But you better believe that every person who does come through that door is a heck of a lot more serious. And it's not to say that people that come to an open house in the springtime or fall time are not serious. They're absolutely serious as well. But I think you can really look at the numbers in a different way in the summertime, knowing that anybody that comes to the door is really serious about buying a house. And things like hosting community events, hosting barbecues, lending out your signs for garage sales, really being present, and also doing the hard work to actually work and plan your business in the summertime when things are a little bit slower, so you can really hit the ground running in the fall time is super important.
Yeah, because all of a sudden, before you know it, Labor Day is here, and you get busy, and you also have other family pressures. Most people do when you get to Labor Day. Kids are back to school, programs are starting, after school programs. Like there's all kinds of those pressures, and it's hard that time of year to do some of your business planning and some of that stuff. So you've got to figure out when to do that. And so if it is a little bit of downtime because you're not running around showing properties, then you should be taking advantage of that and getting out there and making new contacts and attending community events and figuring out how you build your network and your relationships. And it doesn't matter what the event is, charitable event, golf tournament, barbecue, whatever it is. It's good to get out there and attend those events and make some contacts and relationships.
And David, there's lots of opportunities out there for networking in the summertime, especially, right? Like you have birthdays, you have barbecues, you have pool parties, you have community events, you have concerts. Be present, show up, know the market, be prepared to really, have those conversations when you're asked. And you know, make an effort to actually be out there and be belly to belly with customers. And look, this is where a lot of the hard work can also happen to actually work on your business and plan for a successful fall. Make sure that you're working on your CRM. Make sure that you're inputting all these new connections into your customer relationship management, and start developing your branding, your social media strategies, and your nurturing strategies for, what are you going to do with these clients that you're meeting during the summer? How are you going to engage them? What are your touch points going to be? How are you going to drive value to the conversation? And how are you going to make an impact to their lives at the end of the day?
Yeah, and you've got to find the time at some point in the year to do that. So you've got to find the right time, and because if you don't do it, and all of a sudden the market does pick up, you get busy, and you just can't get back to it. And it's no different in our business. Like we happen, in our law practice, we're busy in the summer because we're always lagging a little bit behind what you guys are doing. So you guys are writing a bunch of deals in May and June. We're closing them in July and August, right? If you do nothing in July and August, we're going to have a quieter September. Um, but generally, we always anticipate that, and then sure enough, September hits, and there's a bunch of rush deals that start coming, and it ends up being a busy time too. So we look, in our business, our downtime is more in the winter months when it's quieter, and that's when we sit down and try and figure out, okay, what are we doing? Who are our contacts? What are our strategies? Are we getting out there? Are we doing seminars and webinars, and who should we doing it? And we have more time to do those type of things. So Any business has to look at it that way. You've got to figure out, what's your best time, when are you going to be really busy and you have no time to do business planning, and when do you have a few opportunities to do it, and you got to grab those opportunities.
100%. David, I also wanted to discuss listings in the summertime. So when you do have a listing in the summertime, it's really important to really focus on the landscaping and the visual exterior appeal of the home. So make sure the grass is cut, make sure the bushes are trimmed, make sure the gardens are de-weeded, because all those things contribute to a buyer's perception of how the property is maintained. If you're not cutting the grass, if you're not weeding the gardens, right away, a buyer thinks, wow, this homeowner is not maintaining the front yard. How is the furnace? How is the roof? How are the windows? How are the other systems of the home? If they're not maintaining their yards, and I can see this, how are they maintaining the systems I can't see in the house? So you don't want to get yourself into a situation where right off the bat, the first impressions are negative. So spend a little bit of extra time, make sure that, the house presents itself really well on the landscaping side, because in the summertime, buyers are going to take a little bit more time and pay attention to those areas of the house a little bit more.
Yeah, it's amazing how important curb appeal is. Those first impressions, and the difference of just, planting a few flowers, and planting flowers in a flower bed, as opposed to, okay, just buying a pot and putting it, staging a pot at the front door. Like, there's a difference. If you see that there's flowers in the flower beds or something, it looks like it's okay. They're maintaining it. They care about their home. They're interested in their home. And it just gives you a different first impression on a property too, as opposed to, okay, looks like they've never done anything with their gardening, and now they're going to sell, so that someone brought in, the real estate agent, brought a couple potted flowers to put it by the front steps,
Yeah.
you know.
The other thing, really important thing, David, is pricing. And we hear a lot of this where realtors will get frustrated that the market's not as busy in the summertime, and they often rush to do a price reduction to get the property to move. Um, and listen, there's really nothing wrong with that strategy if your goal is to sell quick. We always encourage all our realtors that the goal is to put the most money in the client's pocket. And sometimes doing a quick price reduction in the summertime is not going to solve your issue, because you want to get in front of more buyers, and a price reduction won't necessarily do that if the buyers are out on the beach or in the cottage. So you got to get a little bit more creative in getting them to the open house. So again, maybe having ice cream at your open house, maybe hosting, frappuccinos or cold coffee or like espressos, maybe making it more about the kids, like giving out balloons or giving out, one of our agents did something really amazing a couple of years ago. Ash Alice called me up and said to me, David, I just went to the dollar store, and I bought a whole bunch of chalk for $1. And I left the chalk outside on the sidewalk to encourage kids to color. And I okayed it with the home seller, and lots of colorful flowers. So this kind of added to the curb appeal of the house. And it was a great way to engage with the kids and get the parents to actually bring the kids to see the house and to attend the open house. And I thought that was something really smart as well. So stay creative, think outside of the box. There's definitely opportunities out there. And remember, when you're pricing homes in the summertime, just prepare the expectations of the seller that things are probably not going to move as quickly as they would in other parts of the market.
Well, this is great. We got to continue the conversation and get into how to prepare, because September's coming, Labor Day is just around the corner, the X is opening pretty soon, and we want everybody to be ready for that. So I think we'll do that at our next podcast. Talk about some of the strategies for the fall market.
Awesome, Dave. Well, this was amazing. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And please email us with any questions or any feedback that you have. Love hearing from our audience. And tune in for the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe.